where those who perceive truth may strive to make others see.
Big, powerful America, and shoot them for what?
On that continent, we are trying to forge a new identity for which we need each other.
With the last words on my lips, that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that.
So, when we're talking about transferring out of the lifestyle of essentially safety, quote unquote, it's not built. It's not really built based on safety, right? It's not. There's nothing safe about it. That's the idea here, right? The idea is here. Everybody's kind of like telling you that it's the safest option because the systems to support it, but it's not. It's not safety. It's actually it's the most alluring trap, honestly, because I want you guys to understand that if you're looking at this particular video, more than likely you're thinking to yourself like, man, should I leave? And by the time you ask that question, you know the answer, right? This lifestyle is beautiful. And it's beautiful in the idea that you can just fit in. You can play along with everybody else, that things are just fine. And the truth is that they're not. And that's what really, really hurts, because you don't realize how, like, regardless of how much money you make over the course of working in whatever job, you don't realize how expensive it can be to look back on a life and understand that you wasted it. That would be the ultimate way to really, really essentially end up in hell, right? Right, because that deathbed moment where you look back and you realize that, and you have that realization, you won't be able to go back. You won't be able to correct things. You won't have time to fix things. And it's painful. It will be really painful to understand that you've done nothing. And I want you guys to really, really look at the landscape out there right now, because there are a lot of people who know better, quote unquote, will tell you, hey, this is how life works. These are how the things do. This is how things are supposed to go. And, you get your paycheck and your health care, and things are going to be fine. And they're not going. That's a lie. It's a tremendous lie. Right? Now, I'm not sitting here telling you that this is going to be easy. I'm not telling you that what you're like, the life outside the transitioning to a life worth living is going to be easy by any stretch. It won't be. That's just the truth. It won't be. But it will take time. It will take time to build that lifestyle, right? To build something that you can actually rely on. But the trick is that it's more sustainable than what a lot of these, a lot of our system currently advertises to us, right? It's in terms of the idea here, first off, it's gonna, like, it is going to take time, right? It is going to take time to build that lifestyle, right? And you can't just one day be working a corporate job, come home, play video games, or watch Netflix, and think that you can turn that off and go directly into the life that you want to live. You can't do that. That won't be that won't be it. It can't be it, right? Because there has to be a transitioning phase to where you move into what you really want to do. One, a lot of people don't know what they want to do. And I think that's most people, honestly. They don't really know. They kind of have an idea. They have a vague understanding. But if you're one of the ones that really know and you actually have like real assurity, you're probably one of the few, and you actually probably are a lot more ahead than you think, right? So you can start to kind of baby step into that, like, right? And this is even while you're working, right? Especially, guys, and if you, like, me, myself, I transitioned out of particularly, like, the structural design, right? Structural design, I was, working for people in suits who were, basically didn't know anything about, like, what I was doing. They didn't know anything. They just knew that they wanted what they needed. And particularly for me, they knew they needed to get something, particularly to, like, the county, so the county allowed them to build a building, but they didn't know. They didn't really care. As long as the county gave them, I mean, I could have just, wrote a smiley face on a napkin if that would help them get past county, right? Like, they don't really care a lot of times. And I transitioned out of that because there's a few reasons why, but more so because of anything, I didn't feel like what I was building, what I was kind of contributing to, it wouldn't be something that I'd look back on and be proud of. It couldn't be. And that was that right there. When you don't have that, that is worth so much more than what people really, really, like, give it credit for. Because our society is kind of like, we systematically devalued jobs that are filled with purpose, right? The idea is, hey, if you chase your life's purpose, then you'll be poor. In a lot of cases, that's kind of the thing, right? And that's the system that we're kind of like a part of right now. And and that's the purpose of the system, is to devalue, right? We don't really pay, we make sure that doctors are locked in debt. We make sure that nurses are locked in, or not making anything. We make sure that teachers don't make anything. We make sure that prison guards make, more than teachers. We don't, like, we don't have a society structured to, help and to promote people who are passionate about anything, right? We need to promote fear. That's how we keep people distracted, and that's how we keep this whole military-industrial complex going. That's how we do it, right? Fear. It's a language that we speak very well. And this idea of moving out of society, it is going to be a tremendous piece of it is going to be in fighting the fear, right? And a lot of the fear is going to be revolving around the unknown, right? Because society will tell us stories of people that follow in the footsteps that they want you to follow in, right? the guy that built the railways, the guy that built the railroad system, the guy, those particular people. And they'll have really good stories. They'll have stories that provide genuine nuggets of wisdom. But I want you guys to understand, like, all of these stories, all this motivational stuff, it doesn't really, like, it'll tell you things. And a lot of podcasts I listen to, at least, they're structured around idolizing the people, right? Not just kind of picking out the nuggets of good things about them, but it's idolizing the people, idolizing the money that they've acquired. And it's not about necessarily creating a better society. It's about essentially using what they've learned to gain what they've accumulated. It's not really. It's you got to understand that what you have now, what's here in front of you today, it's not real. That's the concept. It's not real. Okay? A lot of this is not real. Just to give you an idea, like, Elon Musk is worth almost, I think he's going to be worth like $1 trillion soon. That's a cartoonish amount of money. But I want you to think about what you know about Elon, how you see him on TV, his person in general, right? Even without, like, I'll tell you straight up, like, just knowing what I know about Elon, he's a fraud. He's not even, like, intelligent to where he should have that much money. Like, his intelligence doesn't justify the amount of money that he has. He is high, like, it's Elizabeth Holmes level, like, of fraud that we're looking at when we really look into Elon. But I really do want you guys to understand, even what you know, should that person have that much money to where they would be able to literally, like, buy entire cities? Should that person, right? And what person can you point to should be able to do that, right? Elon Musk has the money that Elon Musk has is because, and billionaires have the money that they have is because they are very good at one thing. They are exceptional at one thing. That is while being in the halls of power, they are able to look the other way. Okay? If you are chasing the pursuit of money, look at the story of Jeffrey Epstein. Do you understand? These people, our value systems aren't built based on any type of fundamental understanding, knowledge, intelligence, morality, any of that. All of that should go out the window if you're just going to chase money. Be willing to sell your soul if that is your life, if that will be your life. You need to understand that there is a cap. There's a cap. There is a plateau that you reach where money no longer means as much to you as it should. And there should be a plateau, rather, right? For a healthy, stable individual, there is a plateau to where more money doesn't quite make more sense. And if there is no plateau, what's likely happening is that you're in a bubble that's telling you that, hey, I really need to compete with Harry, who has a bigger yacht than I'd have, right? Because you're not looking at just regular common folk and thinking that, like, why can't we just, like, make this society, like, actually, like, sensical? You're not looking at society like that. You're looking at your friends that have very huge yachts, very huge boats, and you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe I can get a big boat too. That's it. You're not, like, you got to face that. It's a very important concept that you have to understand. The transition out, you're going to have to face the fear of essentially insecurity. You're going to have to face that one way or another. You're going to have to face it. But the best buffer system that you can have right now, I'm gonna give you some understanding about based on kind of what I've understood in terms of now. One, you're going to learn specifically how to live basically using just the bare minimums of what's available in society, right? You're going to learn to take advantage of that and use that, right? So you can have, depending on your resources, you may have like a cell phone, laptop, whatever. But you need to understand, you don't need this is gonna sound crazy, but you don't need an actual house or apartment. You don't, right? This is actually this is probably the hugest piece, right? Rent is the that's the real clutch that they get you in terms of keeping you in the clutches. You don't necessarily need that. You can have, depending on your situation, you can have a camper, preferably used. If you're trying to get a Mercedes camper or something like that, then this probably, hey, congratulations, but it's probably like, I don't, like, if you're on that level, then maybe you should think about something. You probably don't even need to do this anyway. But if anything, when you're thinking about this idea of living in transition, you need to face and really expose yourself to what it means to live without the things that you've been told that you're supposed to live with. Okay? And that's going to include, of course, the idea of homes, but also the idea of things like what the subscription base that you have right now. You should understand that a lot of corporations are dumping a lot of money into the ideology that they can create slaves through subscriptions. So you have to understand that all of that, wiping all that clean, is going to be instrumental in really removing yourself from the system. And this is important. So go through Netflix, I'm not going to talk about the total extremes with the digital detox, but you can look at whatever is recurring on your financial statement, and you need to go through line item by line item and understand, like, hey, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. Or this, do I really need this? Do I really need this? Do I really need this? When you, and that's another thing, when you're asking yourself, do I need X, Y, and Z? When you're moving outside of whatever situation that you have, if you're coming with, a whole moving van and it's literally just you by yourself, you got you got a long journey ahead of you, right? Because you need to shed a lot of what you have, right? The accumulation of you don't really understand, but all of those things that you've accumulated, they become chains. What do you need? What is it that I actually need? Okay? Very important. A very important question to ask, because that's when you start to realize what it takes to essentially be happy, right? What does it mean to be truly, genuinely happy? What is that? Because the more that you have in that trunk, the more that you have in whatever situation that you have to take with you, that's the more that's making it less and less likely for you to achieve happiness, real happiness, all of those things. So look at everything that you have and start to understand, like, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. Because I'll tell you one thing. I was working a job. I was actually in the transitioning mode. I was trying to figure out how to transition, but there's one guy, he came in. I was working at a Home Depot at this time. I was out of the actual engineering office, and I started working at Home Depot, whatever. But this guy, he came in and he started like talking about, like, hey, this is what I'm trying to get here, and I was trying to help him. He was getting some kind of like OSB, some basically like he was getting planks of lumber for something, and he wanted some help, and I gave him some help out to his car. And he told, like, he was, like he brought me out to his car, and I started looking at it, and I was like, oh shoot, are you like, is this like, are you looking like, I think I knew the name at that point. I was like, is this van life or something? And he's like, yeah it is. He's like, you'd be surprised about, what you need and what you don't need. When I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about something like this. And he told me, he completely changed my life, just that one interaction. But he told me, he's like, yeah, man, you don't realize, like, you can do it, like, right now. Like, you don't need, like, he said, you don't need the things that are stopping you from doing it. Like, that's the thing. Like, you don't need it. And that was a tremendous turning point in my life when I met that guy, and he told me that, because he was right. I didn't need it. I didn't need so much of what I was thinking. Like, the amount of things that I was considering was completely unnecessary. And at this point, I had some money saved up, so I knew that I can essentially get I think I got my second choice of car, but it was a Prius. I started with a Prius, and that was it was just a used Prius. It wasn't a new Prius. Please don't get a new car please, like, if you're getting new cars, it's ridiculous. Don't do that. But just when you get when you get a car, just kind of look at the Carfax, do your due diligence, and really, like, make sure you, like, look for certain things, like the wheels, under the hood. You can YouTube or whatever. But I got the car, and I took out the passenger seat. I think it was the passenger. No, I took out the back seats. I took out the back seats of this car, and I used it. I just used the car, and I started slowly but surely gaining more and more understanding of how I could use this car to make myself a little bit more comfortable. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. Like, when you choose this life, have your understandings of what really takes the money out your paycheck and what keeps you chained to whatever, and understand how you can, like, get away from it, but don't expect to have every single piece of it solved. Don't expect that. It will not be solved. A lot of things, like, you're not going to have complete wings when you jump off the cliff. You're not. So understand that you're going to have to build it, and it's a whole journey when you start to really move into that transitioning phase, and it's worth it. But also have your, like, what you like to do, right? Your hobbies, start to take those a little bit more serious, right? And start to really do things on a regular basis. When it comes to coffee, like, before I actually had the interaction and actually literally moved into the Prius, I was doing something with, like, I would go to the cafe or the Starbucks every day, and it was always like a Starbucks or a local cafe on the weekends or something like that. It was always pretty chill, but like I I went specifically to all these places, and this was life. This was absolute life. Like, this was where I found happiness, being at those cafes, you know, doing like what I wanted to do with like I'd write some stories or something like that, or just basically do a little bit of like research in terms of like what I wanted to do or whatever. But I think what was really transformational for me was where somebody said, hey, look, no, Panera, they have this thing to where they give like free like it's not free coffee, but you pay once a month and you get coffee. Like, every time you come in, you get just a cup of coffee, a free cup of coffee. And I was like, I guess, like I was like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like, when it came down to like coffee in general, like I was either like Starbucks or one of the local cafes, preferably local cafe, but I always went to like Starbucks for like that little like little coffee or something, and sometimes oatmeal or something like that. But I was like really hooked on that stuff. But when I started doing the Panera thing, it changed. Everything changed. Everything. Because it was just like, it took away, like, it made me make that sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I made that sacrifice, so every single trip, like, it became that much, I don't know how to explain it, but it became that much more valuable to me to make that trip then. You know what I'm saying? To go to the Panera rather than the Starbucks. And and as I've been traveling, I noticed that, oh, this is actually like what saved me, right? In terms of like actually, like, it allowed me to live a lot longer without like actually having to get one of the jobs that is one of those lumber companies or something like that. And it was extremely powerful, like extremely powerful. And you need to start to think like that. You need to start to move exactly like that. What is transitioning away from the things that really make you comfortable look like? And that's another thing. Like, it was comfortable. Like, that's what made life comfortable, those trips. Like, that's what made life comfortable, those trips in the cafe, those things where I can always tell myself, like, this life isn't so bad. It's not. Those little things, when I gave that up, it was just kind of it was a stirring that happened. It was just like, hey, no, something's got to change. Something has to change. And you need to find that. You need to find what kind of comfort, because comfort and convenience is a trap. It's a very, very it's a trap that is very alluring, but it's a trap. So find that in your life and start to chip, or not like start to chip away at it, and start to find ways to get rid of it completely. And I mean, those are the main things. And I'm gonna wish you the best of luck in your journey.
Where those who perceive truth may strive to make others see.
A big, powerful America, and shoot them for what?
On that continent, we are trying to forge a new identity for which we need each other.
With the last words on my lips, that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that.